Top stories that are making headlines in the business world today. Communication firms Airtel and Telcom want the Communications Authority of Kenya to drop some of the conditions they were ordered to adhere to before and after their proposed merger. The two telcos have written to the Competition Tribunal protesting CAK's conditions that were imposed on the merger. They want a review of, among other conditions, the order to not retrench any employee within the first 2 years or selling any assets of the merged entity within the first 5 years. Moving on, the Nairobi City County Transport Bill of 2019, currently before the County Assembly, seeks to have all public vehicles fitted with specially designed seats for expectant mothers. Now, the bill excludes the 14-passenger matatu seats, but requires the 17-passenger matatus to have one special seat, while those carrying 10 to 35 people will be required to have 2 special seats. The matatu owners risk fines of up to the tune of 50,000 Kenya shillings for every vehicle that fails to provide the requirements in the event that the law is passed. Now moving on, the Naivasha Inland Container Depot, ICD, has not received any cargo more than 2 months after President Uhuru Kenyatta commissioned its freight operations. Now during the launch, President Uhuru promised faster transportation of cargo to Western Kenya and neighboring countries. But more than a month later, the $1.5 billion facility is still lying idle. Now the SGR project has so far cost the country $5 billion in Chinese loans, with no clarity on Kenya's ability to repay the huge debt. Now moving on, MGas, a newly launched gas provider, has come up with a solution for low-income families that have, for a very long time, used dirty fuel as a source of energy. Now the company seeks to reduce the levels of air pollution and deforestation in the country by offering a cleaner and more affordable option. Take a look.
When dusk blankets Nairobi, tiny tongues of flame leak blackened cooking pots in poorer areas like Mukuru Kwanjenga as dinner simmer over charcoal fires. Charcoal is a major polluter and a driver of deforestation, but a new company may have a solution. Kenyan company MGas, launched in January, is breaking into the low-income market for clean cooking fuels using gas tanks fitted with tamper-proof smart valves that allow customers to pay gas in small increments. Customers say the gas is cleaner, cheaper and more convenient than traditional fuels like wood or kerosene.
This innovation is very important because it's reducing deforestation around cities in Africa, also improving the health of people cooking with biomass, like mostly women and children, and then how households can afford these fuels and are accessible to them.
Nairobi resident Gentrin Chazia said using MGas had cut her cooking fuel bill in half from nearly 100 shillings to around 50 shillings. MGas installs the stove, 13-kilogram gas cylinder and meters collectively worth around $80 in customers' home for free. Buying the same size tank outright costs around $22, too expensive for many families. The smart meters on the MGas tanks mean customers can pay small payments, even meal by meal, on their mobile phones.
MGas ninaona ikinipeleka mzuri, haina moshi, napika chai yangu haraka, na wakati nilikuwa napika na stove ama mafuta taa, nilikuwa naona inakawia sana. Ninailipia kulingana na ile uwezo niko nayo.
Haini cost sana vile tuseme mafuta ama makaa ilikuwa inani cost, sababu mostly nilikuwa natumia stove na ilikuwa natumia 100 daily. Yes, so ilikuwa nikinunua hata hii mtungi ya 5 liters ilikuwa inamaliza only 1 week, na nilikuwa naitununua na 600.
It also alerts the company when the gas is about to run out. A new tank is delivered for free of charge.
So unapata hata kama niko na 50 bob imenitosha for a day.
The potential market is huge. Around 3 billion people globally use dirty fuel for cooking, contributing to air pollution that causes an estimated 4 million premature deaths each year. This is according to the World Health Organization.
The market is massive, so we really want to grow this at scale. We are only here because we want to have a huge impact at scale. So let's see how we go, but if I were a dreamer, and I'm a bit of a dreamer, in a couple of years, some million households in Kenya, some million households in Tanzania, and let's see from where we go from there.
The cost of the stove meters and delivery is paid through the small premium on the overall price of the gas, so there is no upfront cost. It takes around 2 years for the cost of the equipment to be paid off. Reporting for TV 47, my name is Winnie Maganga.
Right, that's quite a good solution in terms of the cooking gas being offered to those that actually currently use cooking gas that is not clean. Now, still on matters energy, the Liberian government announced that the country was unexpectedly low on gas supply. Now, the government owes this to the authorities' overestimation on how much gas was in storage and that a shipment is expected to bring in supplies from overseas. The critics, on the other hand, are arguing that this is just but another sign of President George Weah's chaotic leadership.
Lines to the petrol pumps snaked across Liberia's capital, Monrovia, on Thursday after it emerged that the West African country was unexpectedly down to its last few days' worth of gasoline. An error in the accounting of fuel supplies in state-run tanks left Liberia with 1.1 million gallons of fuel this week, a fraction of the 4.4 million that the government thought it had, Minister of Commerce and Industry Wilson Tupper told Reuters.
I'm angry, I'm bad affected, I'm useless to my family. I cannot afford. Where I work is this place. My working area is emergency. If I can't get gasoline to move here and there and get 1 or 2 cents, I will not feed my family. I will not be able to do anything for them.
The mistake has echoes of a saga involving the suspected loss and the recovery of $100 million in cash destined for the central bank in 2017 and 2018.
Yeah, the shortage of gas is embarrassing our business. Like this morning, we came here since 5 o'clock, and we are still here up to now. Yeah, we stopped traffic by 6 or 6:30, but from 5 this morning to 8 now, as you can see, it's very embarrassing us.
It also had an impact on Liberia's economy, already suffering from high inflation and depreciating Liberian dollar. Tupper said the crisis, which began a few days ago, was caused by a discrepancy between importers' inventory figures and the actual quantity of oil in storage tanks managed by the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company.
At the gas station here, we're getting 1 gallon each for the camel or motorcycle, for the insufficient of the gas for everybody to able to want to meet at least 1 gallon to able to get to the locality. It's not helping at all because I'm a driver. I need a 10-foot. Well, I need a 10-foot. On a 10-foot here, I may get 1 gallon. 1 gallon may take me from here to town. It only came to town, but it don't bring me back. Okay, so it's very difficult. It's a bad situation.
LPRC did not respond to requests for comments. Tupper said this kind of mismatch was common and that it became a problem because of a disruption in the shipping schedule caused by buildup of silt in the city's port.
Our government, President George Manuel Weah, that I cast my vote for, today it should be the end. That he can give us gas to get our children to school. I can be riding bicycle. I trusted him with my vote. That's why I elected him.
Emergency shipments are expected from overseas in the coming days, he said. Meanwhile, people are being forced to adapt and getting angrier as a result.
Right, now moving on, the Postal Commemoration of Kenya unveiled the 20th anniversary commemoration stamp to mark 20 years of its operation as a parastatal in Kenya. Now, Postmaster General and CEO Daniel Kagwe said the corporation has made tremendous steps in growth, diligently demonstrating an ability to progress without financial support from the National Treasury.
And I keep on saying, the post office is 100% owned by the government of Kenya. And I think it is within our rights to ask the government of Kenya to use its post office. I find it interesting, that the government has money that it wants to disburse to the elderly, and it has a post office which they own, but instead of you doing that to the post office, you call banks to actually do it. Then the banks must come to us to ask us, why don't you guys do this business for us?
Wow, it's been quite a moment since I personally even, sent a letter or sent a letter via the poster. I'm sure many of you would actually attest to the same, seeing that now there are so many improvements in technology. Now, moving on, a group of farmers in Western Kenya is processing hyacinth into manure in a bid to help conserve Lake Victoria and boost crop yields in farms. Water hyacinth remains a tenacious weed in various African countries and has choked off large parts of the freshwater lake that straddles Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania.
These farmers in Asembo in Kenya's Western Siaya County spend several hours a month harvesting water hyacinth along the shores of Lake Victoria. They are all members of a community-based organization known as Asembo Dalarieko that promotes farming, conservation, and other development projects in the area. The farmers have found a way to turn the intrusive hyacinth weed into manure in a bid to help stop spread of the weed and also boost soil fertility in farms here. The lake weed will be left to decompose in a pit laid with other farm waste to make the fertilizer.
We use the dry stalk, then made from maize or any plant material. Then we cover it with, we also put the layer of dry grass. Then we put the layer of a heap of the water hyacinth. Then we cover with the topsoil, which will aid the decomposition. And then we sprinkle wood ash. And the wood ash acts as a base to neutralize the acidity. And then we sprinkle water, and the water will help in making a moist environment in the soil. Then we pit like that to the level we want.
Water hyacinth has choked off large parts of Lake Victoria, the world's second largest freshwater lake that straddles Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. The weed has alarmed environmentalists with its spread over the years. The government has had little success in eradicating the weed, which now covers the lake surface with a carpet of grass, cutting off local communities from vital fishing grounds and choking regional ports. After the compost heap is made, it will be left for a few weeks to decompose fully. When ready, the manure is dug out and spread out in the farms. Farmers are being encouraged to boost the use of organic manure in farms to help improve the quality of soils.
Water hyacinth is a blessing to us. We use it for mulching, we use its mud for direct, like manure, and we use its real leaves for making compost manure.
We are promoting conservation agriculture, and we are looking at the possibilities, and we have tested this, of no-till cultivation. It is abundant in the lake. When you harvest it, you can spread it on the farm with a thickness like 1 inch. then it will suppress the weed. So there will be no weed coming from the soil.
Soil degradation affects about 180 million people in sub-Saharan Africa alone, costing them around $68 billion per year, according to a report by Agriculture for Impact.
Kama mimi vile ni mkulima, ni faida kwangu. Hata kama nikija na mboga, sitaona hasara sana. Juu nimetoa kwa shamba, sasa nimetoa kwa shamba, naleta hapa alafu napatia wengine.
Climate change, desertification, the depletion of mineral nutrients, and improper use of fertilizer are all compounding the problem.
Right, that is indeed very innovative, seeing that the hyacinth is actually a very big menace in that part of Kenya and generally in the country, and finding innovative ways to use it to actually make manure is a sigh of relief and actually shows that every cloud has a silver lining, so to speak. It's time now to take a short break, and when we get back, we've got more in store for you. Remember, you can continue to interact with me on social media platforms. That's at TV47KE on Twitter and at Lucy_Riley, and you can also send in a text message to 22047. 2019 saw entrepreneurs in South Africa sell African dolls while Rwanda processed aloe vera into organic soap. Recycling was a strong theme in West Africa. Nigeria made colorful decorations from recycled paper, while Ghana assembled Afro-trendy coffee tables from old tires. Here's more.
A South African startup created a range of African dolls, hoping to empower African girls and capitalize on growing demands for the toys on the continent.
This one?
The dolls are made in a variety of skin tones and hair textures, scented with other aromas like vanilla, and sell for a minimum of $31, attracting buyers from various parts of Europe, America, and Africa.
We felt if we created a doll that would be representative of an African child, for the child to grow up knowing that I'm beautiful, I'm pretty, to associate prettiness and beauty with themselves rather than looking outside for external validation factors to who they are.
Aloe vera, capucine, and capsule, these medical plants are the key ingredients for Rwandan entrepreneur Cephas Nshimiyumarine line of cosmetics known as Uburanga. The herbs and plants are dried, crushed, and mixed with a variety of substances, including oil and water, to create soap.
We make sure that the product which we are producing is for Africa especially, and they are natural. The other product they have chemicals, some chemicals, and these chemicals can destroy, for example, the skin.
In West Africa, Funmi Adubi is leading a class session at an art studio in Lagos, Nigeria, where she trains students on paper craft, showing them how to shape flowers and other decorative items from recycled paper. The 29-year-old sells her products to event companies and individual clients. She also uses social media to market her work.
The freestanding flower, which I made for a client to decorate her living room. It can also be used for events.
Look here. Yeah, look here. Yeah.
I have to bend down. I have to bend down to my living.
Nigerians are actually adapting to it. Like, whenever they see my flowers, they're like, wow, is this really paper? Can I touch it? What materials do you use? As in, how did you do this? And that's why I train people too, to make them know that you can actually make something beautiful out of just papers. And yeah, for event planners, a lot of them are fascinated with the fact that you can actually use them for events. It's something new. So it's really helping their business too, because when they use for one client, another client says, oh, I love what you did with those flowers and I want you to do it for my events. And it goes on and on like that.
Meanwhile, Jeffrey Yeboah makes a coffee table out of recycled tires at his workshop in Accra, Ghana. Yeboah taught himself how to make side tables, coffee tables, and armchairs. Yeboah's company, Ripples Interior, employs 2 workers and uses recycled tires, glass fabric, and various colored ropes to bring out his designs. He advertises his work on social media and also gets referrals from other customers where clients can order custom-made designs ranging from $30 to $250 depending on the size and design.
The vision for this business is big, is wide. So I look at the broader picture, not what I'm facing now. Sometimes I wake up with no money at all in my pocket. I've used every money to buy ropes, and since I'm training people, there are some material that I will do that I will never sell them because I was just training people with it and all that. So at the end of the day, I will not get anything, but nothing stops me.
Right, now moving on, African farmers found new ways to boost their yields despite the harsh economic times and unpredictable weather patterns, and their governments pushed them to use more technology and campaign to lure more youth into the sector. Take a look.
In the highlands of Ethiopia, we meet coffee farmers in February who were seriously thinking about calling time on an industry that has sustained families for generations. Yosef Lemma, a coffee farmer, said the price for a kilogram of coffee beans had fallen a third to 8 birr, or just 29 cents in just a year, reducing his income. A slump in the global coffee prices to their lowest in nearly 13 years is raising questions about whether it's worth growing beans at all in some of the traditional coffee heartlands of Central America, Colombia, and Ethiopia. Lemma was hopeful, though, that things would improve in future.
The price of coffee has certainly gone down. However, we cannot stop growing coffee just because the price has gone down. We are not going to be lazy. Even the price of gold fluctuates on the international market, let alone coffee. It will go up at some point and then down at some point. That's just how coffee prices behave.
In Cameroon, Gabriel Etta was harvesting pepper at his farm in Obala, in Cameroon's central region. Etta grows pepper, cucumber, and tomatoes on about 4 acres of land. The 26-year-old is among a group of young farmers in the country who enrolled on the Youth Agro-Pastoral Entrepreneurship Promotion Program, which wants to promote farming among youth as a way to help create jobs and improve food security. Farmers get agricultural training, learn how to properly manage their finances, and run a profitable farm business. Each farmer also gets a grant of $200 to start out.
I like agriculture a lot, and as entrepreneur, you must make progress and not stagnate. When Youth Agro-Pastoral Entrepreneurship Promotion Program gave me funds, it wasn't for me to just concentrate on one type of farming, but rather on different types of farming, which would help other people, and also so I could employ other young people.
In Kenya, organic waste collected from a municipal market in Kitale, in the country's Rift Valley region, was being processed into manure. The rotting vegetables and fruits are used as a raw material to produce compost manure. David Ngige started Dayscounterke in 2009, a community-based initiative that wants to find better ways of disposing waste generated in the city to improve soil quality in farms here. Dayscounterke recycles and packages organic waste that piles up in bins at markets and hotels in the town. After sorting out the trash, organic waste is dumped in a pit. Organic enzymes are then added to help in the decomposition. A layer of leaves is added later to introduce nitrogen, and the pit is then covered in soil. Across the continent in Ogun State, southwestern Nigeria, suspended yams were growing in a controlled greenhouse without using soil. The technology, known as aeroponics, helps deliver a nutrient-packed mist that is sprayed into the plant roots instead of having plant roots standing in soil or water as with hydroponics. Samson Ogobole grows yams, tomatoes, and various vegetables on his farm. He is among an emerging group of farmers in parts of the world who are using indoor farming technology to grow crops. The farmer is the co-founder of PS Nutraceuticals, a company that uses agricultural technologies to improve food efficiency and production. Ogbole says he wants to see aeroponics promoted, especially in urban areas. Aeroponics allows plant roots to receive more oxygen and grow faster, producing greater yields compared to conventional farming methods.
Right, thank you very much for that interesting feature right there, Alan Owino. Now moving on, electronics engineering graduate Huda Ben Romthan breeds snails in her farm in Tunisia, meeting new demand for the mollusks whose mucus is used in skincare products and meat, known for its high nutritious value. Take a look.
Electronics engineering graduate Huda Ben Romthan quit a job in administration after 12 years in order to pursue her passion in snail breeding, eyeing an emerging market for the molasses in Tunisia. While many may find breeding snails somewhat icky, Romthan has no problem touching the little creatures that have become a source of income. She says her $10,000 project does not require heavy manpower. Their mucus can be used to produce beauty products, while their meat could make a delicious meal. The mucus is extracted by placing the snail in a bowl of salt and vinegar mixture for 10 minutes before being sold to clients who use it in skin care products.
I studied electronics engineering and I worked at a private communications company for 12 years in administration. Then I decided to open my own business, but in agriculture instead of administration. I chose snail breeding in 2014, but I faced a lot of difficulties. But I tried to overcome them over the years and improve the business. I started with extracting the mucus from the snails, a product that drew a lot of interest from clients. After extracting the mucus, the snails are used for cooking.
Ben Romthan says she sources the snails from the Ministry of Agriculture, which supports her and tens of other local producers as part of an initiative aimed at helping local Tunisian producers breed, market, sell and export the snails.
This is snails' mating room. We choose the ones that are ready for mating and they can lay eggs. They stay in here for 3 months, from September to December. We provide them with water in a 20°C temperature and the food. We give them an atmosphere similar to spring so they can mate, and most of them do lay eggs.
While Ben Romthan only sells her products locally, others export their produce to European markets, mostly to Italy. Nabil Kriya, a founder of cosmetics company Le Naturel in Tunis, figured out after 4 years of careful studying the benefits of snail mucus, which is rich in hyaluronic acid, collagen and vitamin E. After studying snail mucus for 4 years due to its richness in hyaluronic acid and collagen, we have decided to produce a lotion that includes other vegetable oils. We made the lotion and found that it was very effective in moisturizing and brightening the face, as well as fighting wrinkles and dark circles under the eyes. It has been very successful among customers. The price of an average snail beauty product ranges between $15 to $25. After selling the mucus extract to clients like Kriya, Ben Romthan cleans the snail's meat to be ready for cooking. She sells a box of 10 snails for $3.5. Restaurant owner Mohammed Aziz Mai says his signature snail recipe mixed with herbs and served in a special bread ball sandwich is becoming one of his customers' favorite. Snail meat is said to be nutritious. It is low in cholesterol and rich in proteins, making it a popular delicacy in various cultures.
Wow, that was very, very interesting indeed. And to those who say snails taste like chicken, I hope you are right. Now, they say necessity is a mother of invention, and this is actually the mantra of one young innovator by the name Emeka, and he has chosen to live by it. Let's take a look at his story.
Emeka Obwenza is cutting a metal sheet to create a base for his latest invention at his workshop in Anko, a town in Nigeria's bustling southeastern state of Anambra. Emeka has created a prototype of a generator powered by water, and the electricity it generates can last over 6 hours depending on the energy consumption rates of the units connected to it. He put together his first model in 2001 and he has been progressively improving it. Emeka began experimenting with metal and creating simple lighting and sound systems at the age of only 5 years old. After experiencing a tragic personal loss due to a malfunctioning generator, he started looking for ways to create safer power generating systems. His machines are powered by high voltage multi-cycle batteries with no carbon emissions.
The power actually increases with the more load you input on it. The machine is designed in such a way so that it won't start blowing things off just like normal generators does. I actually lost a friend to a generator which actually brought about this, because I wanted to do something that kind of eliminate the use of gasoline generators in the society. So I'm actually an advocate of clean energy and waste management. This is the C12A model of the Mbonwe series machine. What this one actually does is that it transforms trashes, your plastic, nylon, waterproof, and the rest into petroleum products like petrol, kerosene, diesel, and some other heavy oil.
The 25-year-old started off as an automobile engineer, but he further trained and specialized in instrumentation and control systems. Emeka has now created over 12 machines that he hopes will solve problems across the environmental, health, and industrial sectors. He has been able to get the components he uses to make his inventions through donations from friends, family, and even strangers.
I usually source my raw materials from waste bins. In fact, I go and get discarded electronic components. At some point, friends do a lot of donation. Like people, you see what I do, just love what I create. They just, okay, take this, use it to get this at the end of the day. So as things grows on, they keep on happening that way, even from social media. People have not even known it, tend to donate some money just to make sure that the dream doesn't die off.
Chika is Emeka's neighbor, and he has been using the hydroelectric generator for over a year now.
And it's very, very excellent. I'm even begging him to, sell for me, but he said that it's not possible now. I'm even waiting for any time that he has produced it on going to the market. That is must. I must even purchase like 5 for myself and my family.
Nigeria has suffered from decades of chronic blackouts, and it's estimated that more than 80 million people don't have access to grid power supplies in Africa's most populated country. Most businesses and homes are forced to run on diesel or petrol-powered generators.
Wow, that's very innovative indeed from Emeka, who has been able to actually make do with what he actually has that's available for him. And finally, in a country famously known for its dominance in the oil industry, getting a job can be a hassle in an overly populated sector. Belkasi, an engineering graduate, decided to be part of the solution and ventured into the pastries and bakery field. Let's have a listen in.
After several attempts at landing a job in Libya's state oil industry, 22-year-old engineering graduate Belkasim Abdisalam decided to make a living baking cakes.
I applied for the National Oil Corporation at Brega Petroleum Marketing Company and Arabian Gulf Oil Company and even the private Slumberger. It is very difficult.
Most Libyans work in the public sector, but the state has been hiring less because the country has been engulfed in conflict in the years since the overthrow of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011.
كان حصلت تخصصي مثلا أنا تخصصي مش هنا تخصصي.
If I had worked based on what I studied, I would have worked on field as a petroleum engineer. But this profession, baking and cafe work, I cannot quit it now. It runs in my blood.
Jobs in the private sector have also become scarce, as foreign companies have left due to the deteriorating security situation. Forced to give up his dream of working in the oil industry, Abdisalam took the Bengazino chef course at a private training center in Benghazi to learn the confectionery trade. He now works full-time in a busy cafe in Benghazi, and he gets paid every month, unlike many who work for the cash-strapped public sector.
قطاع خاص أنجح في وقتنا الحالي أنجح أفضل من الحكومة.
It is a much better and stronger source of income than government work, more than the double. You can't rely on a government salary. It doesn't do anything.
The training center's owner, accountancy graduate, 35-year-old Zara Bashir El-Zawi, said young people need to take care of themselves.
I graduated with a BA in accounting 8 years ago, but didn't work in the public sector. 4 years ago, I stood up for myself and launched this project. I imagined that if I had waited for the state to employ me, I would have stayed at home for 8 years. That's why I support the idea of youth standing up for themselves.
Another alumnus of the confectionery course, 30-year-old Nabil Mohammed Al-Mabrouk, started his own cake business to cater to caves and supplement his father's state pension of 450 dinars, which equals to $321, in order to feed a family of 9.
I did not benefit anything from my BA in economics, with all of its funding, banking, knowledge and other key topics. I applied to work in many banks, including Wada Bank and the Bank of Commerce and Development. I also applied for health, education, social solidarity and military sectors, and nothing happened. I did not benefit anything from the state, not even 1/4 of dinar. These sons of mine are what brought me my income.
Right, that was a very interesting story, considering that he is a graduate and he made with what he had and decided to get into the cake making industry. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time I had with you for today. Until next time, I've been Lucy Riley and this has been the Day's Counter. Up next is Shina Lopeo. Goodbye.